Welcome to Kaiju's Corner, your one-stop shop for all your good old-fashioned kaiju comic book and pop culture-related freeform conversations. I'm your host, Andres Perez, aka KaijuNoir, and here with me is, of course, my co-host, Deadpoolzilla.
Hello, people of the internet.
Now, for this particular episode of Kaiju's Corner, there was a video that just went online and went completely viral, took the internet by storm, and that in particular was the Power Rangers fan film, which was oddly titled Power/Rangers, and I wish I had the information up on my screen, but do you happen to remember the name of the director?
I can't pronounce his name. Adi Shakarn, I think that's his name. He was the producer and screenwriter for Dread.
Okay, he was not that was the producer, but not for this thing as well, but not the director. That person that you mentioned, he was the producer. You're right, of Dread, as well as the fan film Punisher: Dirty Laundry.
He also did a Venom fan film as well.
That I unfortunately have yet to see, and I've never heard of it until today. And the director himself, I want to say his name was like James. Was it James something?
It was. It's actually. I think it's Josh something.
Let's see. I think I may have
something with a J.
I may have the name right here. I'm just hoping the internet doesn't go slow on me now. Okay, Joseph Kahn.
See, I knew it was something with a J.
Yeah. So these two individuals, they came together and they worked on this project, which was a 14-minute fan film, which was a dark, gritty reboot, sort of like an alternate take on Power Rangers, specifically, the original Power Rangers team. And the story kind of takes place in a post-apocalyptic setting where the Power Rangers, they went up against the Machine Empire, just like in Zeo. Only this time they lost their Megazord, they got their asses kicked, they were hunted down, and they're kind of living in this like dystopian Blade Runner, Samurai Jack kind of like high-tech future. And the Pink Ranger is being interrogated by the second Red Ranger, Rocky, and kind of recounts how all the Rangers kind of gone their separate paths and how they've all been so mentally scarred by their battles as teenagers. And and it all leads to this like mystery surrounding like whatever happened to the Green Ranger. Is he still on our side? So what were your thoughts on this fan film?
I liked it, but it's not what I want to see in the actual like real life Power Rangers movie that's coming soon.
Mm-hmm. Now, just wondering, did you see the interview
with
the
director? Like,
yeah.
I was just going to say that, as I really did like this, but I don't want this to be like the actual movie, because the thing with Power Rangers is that it's a kid's show at its heart. And, I mean, yeah, Super Sentai has had its dark moments and, characters been killed off, but, I don't know, like, I think it's so dark, it gets to the point where it's kind of funny.
Now, just wondering, have you seen the...
You know what I mean? Where it's like...
Yeah, but have you seen the interview with the director himself?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so like, what's really interesting is that with this project, context is incredibly necessary in order to, fully appreciate this this film here, because from that interview, it's clear that both the producer and the director were trying to make this, or at least the director wanted to make this a parody or a satire on all of the dark and gritty reboots that we've been having over the years on like intellectual properties based on like childhood nostalgia.
Yeah, and it does work, and it still has its fun to it. And what I also like is I do want to see, like, this is the type of costumes I'd like to see in the actual in an actual movie. And dear Lord, that ending.
Oh yeah,
that ending I did.
Yeah, I understood that, and It's really interesting looking at this because I was having a lot of fun with this because I knew that knowing that this was supposed to be a satire, it wasn't meant to be taken seriously at all. They knew it. It was like a very tongue-in-cheek thing, like we're so gritty and hardcore. We're all so fucking extreme. But they're doing this, with tongue-in-cheek. They know that it's like they know how ridiculous it is. Like they're doing this seriously, but not taking it seriously at the same time, and thus it's like a lot of fun, kind of like almost like a very Robert Rodriguez kind of over-the-top violence and exploitation sort of way.
Yeah, it does feel like that. And Katie Sackhoff as Kimberly, you can clearly tell Katie is having a lot of fun here.
Oh yeah, and what was she from? Her name sounded familiar because I know the other guy. He was from Dawson's Creek, right?
Yeah, both of them were from Battlestar Galactica.
Okay. Funny enough, the only reason why I know why the other guy is from Dawson's Creek was because I recently saw Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I was about to say, are you hiding something from me, Andreas?
Nope. Now Degrassi, however, that I watched that shit.
Anyway, what do you want to talk about first? Like the costumes or the setting, or it's your show.
Okay. Well, first off, I just want to say that I had as much fun as I had with this short, and as much as I enjoyed the overly gratuitous sex and violence. You're right. I agree with you. Where I would not like this as like the full-on next generation, the new mature version of Power Rangers for the upcoming 2016 film adaptation / reboot. This is a fun little what if sort of project because we in the back of our heads we've always wondered what would this sort of thing would this sort of thing turn out to be, and it was obvious that that's what the director wanted to do. He's like, hey, this is just a one and done thing. I'm not pitching this as a movie, or I'm not pitching this as a series. This is my thing. Or the producer, he himself said it. This is my thing, and I just want to have like a one and done sort of deal. But funny enough, I guess we'll just go into the story then. I really like the idea of what happened to Power Rangers after they've grown up, where I like they bring up this idea where like these are pretty much teenagers, like child soldiers basically being brought into a war that's not their own, and having to go through these like kind of like battles on a day-to-day basis would kind of leave you pretty fucked up. In kind of harkens back to Evangelion, where it's like what would really happen if 14-year-old children were to pilot giant robots constantly. They would be really screwed up in the end. And I really like that idea, and I think that's a perfect idea for like a sequel down the line.
Yeah, or something of that matter. I also like that it's the Machine Empire that won and not Rita.
Yeah, and
because
how
they
brought back Rita.
The Machine Empire is
and how they did brought back Rita, I thought was a really interesting twist.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. It's an empire. You had an entire army on the moon. Why didn't you just invade? I mean, that's what the Armada did in Mecha Force.
I'm pretty sure there was probably some sort of explanation in the Sentai O-Ranger, but who knows, since I haven't actually seen O-Ranger yet.
Yeah. But yeah, I did like that it does talk about, well, we were kids and we were forced to fight for, forced to fight on an army that, we didn't know if they were really the good guys. So I like that they brought that up.
Yeah. I only wish that they could have brought, like, the film could have shown us this interpretation of Zordon, or if Zordon doesn't exist in this fictional universe, then whoever it was that recruited the Rangers.
Yeah, I wanted to see. There was a part of me that wanted to see what Alpha looked like.
Yeah. Although knowing that this is supposed to be like that sort of parody sort of thing, they probably would have given him the Bupo treatment and had him in a chest, and the characters would make fun of him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what they did in Operation Overdrive.
Yeah.
And I guess it's kind of hard to go any further in the story because a lot of it is incredibly cliche. It's a lot of like very sort of things you've seen in other sort of dark, gritty storylines, especially with the whole what would you call it? The whole interrogation scene being used to exposit previous events that happened beforehand. Doing a whole thing that like all the events that lead up to this one moment, whole lot of double crossing and triple crossing, and betrayals.
And big shocking reveals.
Big shocking reveals. Yeah, it's something that we've seen a lot, and I guess that is the point of the of the shorts, to just hit all the bases that you would normally expect to see in these sorts of grim, gritty reboots.
Exactly. And that's where it kind of has its fun, especially like when it gets to Zack's story.
Yeah, definitely. I love that they brought in the hip hop keto.
Yeah. And also, dear Lord, does this director know how to choreograph a fight sequence?
Oh my God! Yeah. Like when I saw this, I was like, "Holy shit! It's a fight scene with no shaky cam." Now, granted, there are bits of shaky cam, especially at the very beginning, but they actually served a purpose to actually show a first-person's view of all the madness and chaos during the initial invasion of the Machine Empire.
Yeah. I mean, I recently just watched Kingsman, and that has a little shaky cam, but it kind of works the movie's favor. And this little clip showed, hey, you don't need to shake the camera around like a like a methed up douchebag to make it look cool.
Yeah. When looking at this, I actually got like flashbacks to the '90s Mortal Kombat movies and how they handled their fight sequences, along with the surprisingly enough, what was it called, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. That's like the one movie I always go back to when I said this is how you should do fight scenes, hand-to-hand fight scenes at least.
Yeah, that or The Raid.
Yeah, and of course, it's really interesting how far they push the limits of the excess amounts of mature content in this short. Where the director, he mentioned how during a lot of these, like whenever these big mainstream movies, grim gritty movies get made, they usually tend to target the PG-13 crowd in order to appeal to like the widest possible audience. And the director was like, "Fuck that! No, we're gonna go all the way," and it's just like it pushes the gore, nudity, cursing, all of those to like such a ludicrous degree that it only adds to the fun. However, again, like much like what you said, if this was supposed to be a legit movie, then yeah, I would have a problem with this.
Yeah, I think. But seeing as that this is the director's vision, and knowing that he wasn't taking it seriously, I'm totally okay with it. Also, you have to look at it does have some really like high level effects. I mean, obviously these guys have actually worked in movies before, so stand to reason that they would bring some of those effects here.
Yeah, and it definitely helps that they're making a short film as opposed to an actual movie, where they're able to condense that budget and perform and create these sorts of special effects for the limited amount of time that they have for that limited runtime.
Yeah.
I wish that we could have at least had a good shot of the Megazord. From that brief glimpse, from that brief glimpse, it looked like the original Megazord because I thought I saw the horns there, but who knows? I was too lazy to get a screen grab.
Yeah. That's my only complaint. I wish we saw more of the Megazord. That's my only thing, because for the brief moment we see it, it looks awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. And given those kind of special effects, I would be really happy with that. In fact, like with the kind of special effects they have here, and especially the costumes, I would love it if it did have that look. Now, would I prefer a little bit more color as opposed to the whole generic what would you call it, sepia tones and teal and orange sort of motifs? Yeah, sure, but like in terms of like the the designs and everything I highly enjoyed. Not that big. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not that big a fan of the holographic chest shield on the Green Ranger, but I suppose that again, that was catering to the whole,
Yeah.
let's take these things, this property, and mess with it as much as possible.
Yeah, that's my thing too. Is that I just like I didn't get the whole holographic armor right there. I was like, it didn't just doesn't like look right to me. I don't know why, but it didn't bother me.
Yeah, I guess
I'm not
it's just an aesthetic preference.
Yeah, I guess that's my only thing. And I didn't hit like walk away going the armor wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's a little off-putting, but I can get through it. And you only see it for 2 scenes, so.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. What's interesting is that like they brought in the second Red Ranger, so I'm thinking, what happened? Did they ever brought in the second blue? No, the second black and second yellow Ranger? I guess not. But I find it interesting. But then again, I just realized how it was deliberately picking and choosing the picking and choosing from the source material. And in a way, I think that was also the intention, where these movies, the original Power Rangers, the franchise itself, picks and choose elements from the Super Sentai, their respective Super Sentai shows, and make a completely whole new thing out of it. And interestingly enough, that's exactly what the filmmakers did here, where they again picked out different concepts and just did their own thing with it.
Yeah. Because that's a good point. Because, excuse me, I was thinking to myself, okay, Rocky's here, but where's Adam and Trini?
Right, yeah. It's kind of like you kinda, for a big Power Rangers fan, you would have to think whether or not, like, okay, so what is in continuity and what isn't.
No, I mean not Trini, Aisha. Yeah, that's the other Yellow Ranger.
Yeah. So let's see. Anything else to talk about?
The ending where Rita showed up was awesome.
I was hoping to avoid that for spoilers because I want to recommend this, but okay, we're going to talk about Rita then. Given how little she appeared in, I thought she was really cool. Funny how they kind of replaced her large wild hair with very Maleficent-esque looking horns. But yeah, it was a pretty decent surprise, especially for if you're a fan of Power Rangers.
Yeah, it's also like I would not mind if that's the design of Rita we go with. I actually wanted to see Zed in here, actually.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I'm not sure if what would be interesting, that Zed would be perfect for that whole super gory, grim dark sort of deal they're going on with there, and makes me wonder, like, just
fun fact.
Yeah,
a fun fact though, and this is for everybody. Apparently, Lord Zed was supposed to be in the last Mortal Kombat game, and I would have loved it.
That sucks, but it's kind of understandable considering how Saban really wants to keep their brand to remain as childish as possible.
Yeah, right, Toho?
So, anyways, I guess another comment I wanted to make was I really wish that the Green and the Green and Red Ranger actually had like Tommy and Rocky actually had a fight in their costumes, because who wouldn't want to see the Green Ranger versus the Red Ranger? But again, I suppose that's another common trope in the sorts of movies that they're parodying, where the characters rarely ever put on their actual face concealing masks and costumes.
Yeah, that is a nice little thing they did there, making fun of the reboots. There's just it's just something that for major power, for like Power Ranger fans our age, this is something nice for them.
Yeah, but it's just that I have to
stress
so
bad. Would we want to see it in a movie or on the actual?
Yeah. It's just that I honestly have to stress, to anyone watching, context is what's important here. This isn't a pitch to make a brand new movie. No, this isn't a serious attempt at trying to make a super dark and edgy Power Rangers proper adaptation. This is just a one and done deal made to just criticize or satirize the workings of Hollywood and their adaptations made to take advantage of audiences' childhoods or nostalgia, to use a proper term. So with that in mind, I'd say that this is a lot of fun, and I would recommend it to mature Power Ranger fans, because again, there's a lot of material here that isn't suitable for children.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're watching it on
There was also
on
a part of me
Vimeo.
that was like, when's Jason David? Yeah. If I'm just real quick, I'm kind of surprised Jason David Frank doesn't show up in here.
Yeah, but I guess they really wanted to start out with a whole fresh cast. But funny enough, on Jason David Frank's official Facebook page, right when a couple hours after the short film went viral, he actually took a picture with that actress who played Kimberly, and he jokingly made a post saying, "Say, you aren't Kimberly." It was just like the two of them just like smiling for the camera.
Yeah.
I thought, "Aw, that's awesome."
Yeah. Yeah, not much else I can say. It's literally, if you don't count the credits, an 11-minute film, so I'm surprised we talked about this much about it.
Yeah, so, but funny enough, given how we're already talking about short Power Ranger films that takes the franchise in a brand new direction, let's talk about the animated concept trailer for the Power Rangers that actually was an official Saban product that came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah, and funny enough, like, a lot of people were wondering, like, was this official, or was it fake? Is it fan-made? Was it for a video game or a TV show? What exactly was it? And once, Saban themselves started taking down videos off of YouTube, you knew for a fact that, you thought, oh yeah, this is official.
Or was official.
Right, because apparently this was a concept trailer from, like, 2012, 2013, around that time where Saban just got the Power Rangers brand back, or maybe around the time that Samurai was on the air. And basically, for those of you who missed out on it, it was basically an animated adaptation of the original Season 1 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, where you see the team without Tommy Oliver fighting a monster that resembles Silverhorn from Season 2, I believe. I only know Silverhorn because he was in the Super Nintendo fighting game. And then you see they're using new powers based off of their animals, which are kind of resemble the powers that the Dino Thunder Rangers had. And then there's a very short glimpse of a giant Megazord battle with a brand new Megazord that looks nothing like the original Megazord, except in, like, basic design, like the whole blue, yellow legs and whatnot.
Yeah, this was, like, I liked it, but at the same time I was like, it's like, I wanted to see more, like, to give my full thoughts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because even to this day, you did not make a video on your channel, right?
Yeah, I didn't talk about this.
That's surprising because,
Because
you tend to always make videos on all of the things that come out.
Not all the time.
Most of the time.
Shut up.
Oh, Spawn is rumored to be in Mortal Kombat. I'm going to talk about it.
Shut up.
So, first off, what do you think of the idea of
an
animated... This Skype thing is really going to be a huge problem.
I know, but just a quick thing on the Spawn video. If he shows up in Mortal Kombat X, you can kiss my ass.
I will not, sir, because you live on the other side of the country.
Damn it!
So anyways, what do you think of the concept of an animated Power Rangers property?
I like it, but here's the thing. It's a smart idea to go with Mighty Morphin as your animated show, but I would be totally fine if you did an animated Power Rangers show on an original Power Rangers team. Like, this could be the animated continuity, and then you have the live-action continuity. Similar to how we're going to have Toho Godzilla films again and Legendary Godzilla films again.
Uh-huh. You're right on both accounts. Where yeah, it's easy to just like have this is the live action stuff and this is the animated stuff. And while the live action can certainly be like for the film and the TV show, you can easily make like let's say a series of direct-to-video movies that are animated, kind of similar to what like Disney does with their endless stream of Tinkerbell movies,
or DC with their films.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that sort of thing. You know, like with DC, they got the Man of Steel, Justice League film franchise. They've got the Arrow and Flash continuity, and of course they have all their animated stuff on TV and the animated stuff on direct-to-video that are all none of which are all interchangeable with interconnected in any way.
Yeah, so it could have been like that, and I would have been totally fine. Like again. It's a smart idea to go with Mighty Morphin, but again, at the same time, it's kind of hard to recapture that classic magic and do it again in animated form. And admittedly, there are some things you can do in animation that you cannot do in live action, no matter how hard you try.
Yeah,
obviously with the whole animal power thing we saw in this little concept trailer.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because, yeah, let's face it, as much as you and I and the rest of the Tokusatsu and Godzilla fan bases love our men in rubber suits and models and puppetry and animatronics and all that stuff, there's just some things that you cannot do in that without, like, the fluidity of the animation, depending on how good the animation is, because, let's be honest, looking at the animation here, this is, like, very TV quality animation. Like, I'm talking like Nickelodeon animation, but let's see. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. There's a lot more freedom to perform the superpowers. There's more, a better choreography. Characters can perform, have an easier time filming, not filming, but like choreographing the fights and destruction and mech battles. There's a lot of you can do in animation. And as for the Mighty Morphin thing, I like that they went with Mighty Morphin because, let's face it, it is to this day the original the original iconography of the first season is so that's the Power Rangers that everyone knows and likes. That is the Power Rangers that everyone instantly recognizes. I mean, given that they used those costumes and imagery for 3 seasons, it's kind of hard to beat that sort of that incarnation of Power Rangers. So I don't personally mind that they would try to recreate Mighty Morphin because, hey, we had Mighty Morphin 20 years ago, or I think like 21, 22 years at this point. So why not have a new version of Mighty Morphin, because it's been such a long time since we've seen that iconography.
Yeah. And I don't mind that. What was I going to say? And it's a cool idea because this is not the first time we've seen live action stuff transition to animation. I mean, hell, they did that a lot in the 90s, and Pacific Rim's going to get an animated series in 2 years.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And also, and going back to the Mighty Morphin thing, I forgot to mention how Saban is really taking advantage of their older audience, and I mean that in a good way, especially when it comes to their toy line, because back in 2010, right when Saban got the brand back from Disney, and they were in production for Samurai, they released a bunch of new toys based on older toys from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I have one right now, actually, which is, the 2010 Megazord.
I remember those.
Yeah, they released the 2010 Megazord, which was, a dream to behold, because, I never owned the original Megazords until I got the 2010 version. And eventually they started releasing the Legacy toys. They released the Legacy Megazord, which is the same, except it had some die-cast parts and chrome paint. Then they had, last year they released the Legacy Dragon Zord, and last week or the week before they released the Legacy Tiger Zord. So they're even coming out with new toys based on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. So to this day, they are still... Oh, the Saba sword, the talking sword that the White Ranger had. They released a legacy toy of that. So to this day, they are still milking the hell out of the original Power Rangers because they know that there's an older fan base that, would eat this shit up. Me, myself included, as I proudly have all three legacy... The 2010 Megazord, the Legacy Dragon, and Tiger Zord are on my shelf right now.
I would, admittedly, go out and buy the Saba sword right now.
You can find it. It's exclusively at Toys R Us for now. And also there's a Legacy Titanus, but oh boy, $150 is just too much for me, especially since I have nowhere to display that large hunk of machinery.
Yeah. The other thing with this is that I'm not saying it's bad that they're obviously targeting their older audience because they have money. The older audience has money, but it's a cool marketing strategy as well, and especially to go back to the animated series. And it's also a nice way to reintroduce the original series to a younger audience rather than just have reruns. You can reintroduce it in this way, or have tell Nickelodeon to rerun the original series like they did a little while before Samurai started really coming out.
Oh yeah, that is you can easily do that. Where have an animated version of the original series to reintroduce the original shows from the 90s and early 2000s to the younger generation. That way they may be more inclined to purchase the DVDs. So we'd have both the older audience and the younger audience buying the DVDs to the older shows.
Yeah. Also, real quick, hey, Saban, where's my complete DVD set of RPM?
It's coming. Oh wait, I think it should be out by now because I'm pretty sure that all the Ranger shows are out at this point, at least in box sets.
Are they? Is RPM out? I don't know.
I'm going to check right now because I think like box set 1 contained the first 3 seasons, the Mighty Morphin era. Box set 2 contained everything up to Lost Galaxy. So I'm going to check right now on Amazon. Let's see. All right. So, RPM is seasons 13 through 17, which contains what do you call it? Let's see, which Power Ranger are there? It's kind of hard to tell from the box, but let's see. Oh, Lightspeed Rescue through Dino Thunder. That was another box set, and so SPD, Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, Jungle Fury, and RPM. That's all one box set, and it's available for $83.
Can I get it without getting goddamn Mystic Force and Operation Overdrive? I mean, I don't mind. I like Jungle Fury.
And Saban's like, no, fuck you. We want your money.
Well, fine. I'll get the other one with what was it? Lightspeed Rescue to Dino Thunder.
Let's see. Now I'm currently checking to see if Operation Overdrive is available. No, Why am I searching Operation Overdrive? No! I want RPM.
Yeah, I would go for just a box set of RPM.
Okay, so I know a lot of these DVDs, at least for the early seasons, their seasons have been split into 2 volumes. And so, let's see. Okay, here we go. Power Rangers RPM, the complete series. $60. Huh. That's odd. I guess it was a limited production for this for the single season. I mean, would you want to pay $60 for one season or $80 for like, what was it, like 13 through 17 for 5 seasons?
Well, I guess I'd have to bite the bullet for, I like 3 out of 5 of those Power Ranger shows, so.
Well, in the end, I'm sure you can just, sell them.
Yeah, if worse comes, or, shoot them out of the cannon.
Or that, or, if you want to be smart about it, sell it and make money off of it. Money that Saban will not receive.
Good point.
Yeah. But anyways, back on the this thing. Now, in terms of the actual look of the animation itself, because, okay, we know this project is has been long since dead in the water, but given that this could have been something, or this could have turned into something, what were your thoughts on the actual, the designs, the action, the animation itself? What were your thoughts on the actual production of the concept trailer?
Well, that's the thing. It was just a concept trailer, and sometimes the concept animation is a hell of a lot different from what we get in the actual shows. It's kind of like when you get a pilot for a show, and the animation and production is totally different because they have more budget for it, but then they have to stretch themselves out for an entire show, and sometimes the animation gets cut down. So even if it looked this way it did in production, and possibly the pilot, it would not have looked the same way in an actual... It may have not looked the same way in an actual production.
That is very true, and especially maybe like once a show gets into production, the person running the show may want to change directions in terms of its art style or the tone. I mean, like, look at Steven Universe being a prime example. The show, a lot of the characters look significantly different from what they originally looked like in the original pilot.
Exactly.
So now I want to say just looking at this concept trailer alone, I really like I'm not so much a fan. I mean, I guess I kind of have this bias against like CG, television quality CG. Well, mainly just it depends on how you use it. I mean, I think Ninja Turtles does it to a good degree, since a lot of their character models are very blocky and have a lot of sharp edges, which makes, I guess, the animation a bit cleaner, I suppose. Wasn't a fan of Batman. I wasn't a fan of the Batman nor the Green Lantern, because I just thought that it looked I don't know, especially with Green Lantern, that whole Bruce Timm looked, I don't think, translated very well into CG. And as for Batman, it kind of, the whole thing just looked, the design itself of everything just looked very boring. But for this, it felt very lively, very colorful.
Hey! Whoa! Back up! Beware the Batman has its flaws, but I'm going to defend Green Lantern the Animated Series till I die.
I'm not talking about the actual quality of the show. I'm just saying that I did not like the look of the movie. I mean, I did not like the look of the show, and therefore I never watched it.
Oh, okay. Okay, as long as, the story was great. I mean, if my friend Coolio Vids was here, my friend Coolio Vids was here, he'd probably tear your heart out.
Well, I'd like to see him try. Well, anyways, I guess the only real thing I had against the concept was the Megazord itself. I mean, me being a giant robot fan, and the original Megazord / Daijujin being one of my favorite giant robots, it just feels kind of disappointing that they went with something that looks nothing like him, and I don't know, kind of looks a bit boring, or at least just have the horns and mouth plate.
Yeah, it's a little off-putting because that's such a classic design. It's like when you think Megazords, you obviously think of that.
Yeah, and
the original Megazord, not what we got in this little...
I mean, I like the idea. I mean, I'm glad they kind of went with the basic color scheme, and I like the addition of Pteranodon wings, but you gotta give me something. I mean, you went out of your way to recreate the costumes, but you're not gonna make the Megazord?
Yeah. Here's another thing I want to bring up. What kind of voice actors do you think we could have gotten for this? Because I doubt we could have gotten, the actual actors who played the Rangers, because one of them tragically passed away.
And let's face it, not all of them are, you can barely call them actors, let alone voice actors, because that requires a very specific talent right there.
Yeah, it does. So could, I mean, it would be cool if, like, they showed up, like, if they played different, it would be cool if they had the actors who played the classic Rangers or other Rangers in the past come in and do, like, cameo roles or villain roles, or
they
just like these fun little, hey.
Yeah, they kind of did that with Transformers Animated, where they would bring in, like, classic voice actors or, like, guest stars and have them appear as, like, one-off characters, like Weird Al Yankovic appearing as what was his name? One of the Junkion.
Wreck-Gar.
Yeah, Wreck-Gar. He was Wreck-Gar.
Wreck-Gar.
Yeah. I am Wreck-Gar. I dare to be stupid.
Yeah. And then you had Judd Nelson come back as Hot Rod.
Yeah. Now, let's see. So any more thoughts? Anything else you wanted to say about the animated Power Rangers? Oh, I do want to have one thing. Do you think... Now, the whole appeal of Super Sentai / Power Rangers was that, unlike anime, where, in Japan, the whole, I guess we could say the most biggest appeals of the franchise was that all this stuff is happening in live action. Do you think that by turning this into animation, you take away the main appeal of Power Rangers?
Well, we kind of talked about this when we were having a conversation about why hasn't Godzilla become an anime yet. Is that it may be because either the Saban is too protective of their rights, or they think it's, the appeal lies in the live action. That might be another reason why this animated show did not see the light of day.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the main focus is obviously the live action, and the appeal is there. So why take a gamble and say, hey, let's spend... Because animation is very expensive.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
and it's much more cheaper to just import the special effects than make up your own.
Exactly. So it would have been a risky gamble for them to put all this money into something that may not, work out.
Yeah, but do you think an animated Power Rangers would work, and would you like to see it?
Oh yeah, the same as I'd like to see an animated Godzilla series that's, done in Japan. Not to say anything bad about the, Zilla animated series in the 90s, but it could have been better.
Hey man, if I would like to say, if Genndy Tartakovsky can make giant robots and monsters badass, along with having a really fantastic story, I think I would honestly prefer an American Godzilla cartoon than in Japan. I know that might be blasphemous, but I don't care.
No, you're on the right track, but here's the thing. Genndy Tartakovsky's work just gets spit on by everybody, especially Cartoon Network. Do you remember what happened to Bionic Titan?
Of course, I love that show to death, and I was perfectly aware of what happened back in when it was canceled, like 2011.
Yeah. I think if you were to put it on any show, I think the logical choice is Nickelodeon, because obviously, Saban and Nick are now buddy.
Right, and they kind of been relying a lot on CGI shows. Like basically, it's like CGI shows, live action, quote unquote sitcoms, and whatever the hell Breadwinners is.
Yeah. Well, I think their highest most viewed show is the Ninja Turtles show, and that's an action-oriented show. So I think this, if you had a Power Ranger show could actually work, because Ninja Turtles shows, you could do action and a bit of comedy in animation and do it well. So I think if you were going to put it anywhere, I think Nickelodeon, if you put it on Cartoon Network, it'd die. It would die in seconds, because excluding Steven Universe, name me an action show.
I guess Adventure Time, but then again, it is kind of more of a mix as opposed to full-on action or action drama oriented.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the same thing with Steven Universe. It has action in it, but it's more story-driven and has some comedy in it. So
and then there's like Teen Titans Go, which is strictly a comedy, and then Uncle Grandpa is just a more abstract comedy.
And then we have Regular Show, which is comedy.
What about what was that show? The How to Train Your Dragon TV show, was that action? I never saw it.
It was action, but look at it, it's gone.
Oh,
seriously,
yeah.
Cartoon Network is where action cartoon, and that's where the new Transformers cartoon's going to be.
Oh yeah, and again, Amazing World of Gumball, that's also comedy. And they did have a whole action lineup block, which was called DC Nation, and then Cartoon Network pulled the plug on that whole project, since I guess it wasn't to their liking, since I guess just like how with Young Justice, action to them, having like story and action means having a show that appeals to both genders as opposed to one that they can sell toys to strictly.
Yeah. So another place you might have a good play, if Saban was willing to take a risk with it, maybe
Netflix.
It was the hub, but Discovery Well, yeah, Netflix is a good place.
Yeah, I mean, it seems
but
like
if you want to go by TV station.
And it seems like a lot of things are going towards Netflix right now. I mean, we had Legend of Zelda being announced for Netflix. Pee Wee Herman's coming back for Netflix. I think you could do a lot with Netflix now. The Marvel stuff. I think you can definitely do a lot with Netflix now.
Yeah. My third choice, because you brought up a really good point, Netflix is a really good place to go. My third choice would be Discovery Family.
I haven't been
I think
to
that would be a nice place for it because they're family.
I haven't been to Discovery Family in like so long now. I remember I used to go on there for a show called The Prehistoric Planet, which was just a repackaged version of Walking with Dinosaurs. And I think the Steve Irwin, what was his name? Well, the Crocodile Hunter show.
Yeah. Well, it used to be the Hub, but then Hasbro couldn't pay Discovery back, so it became Discovery Family.
Wasn't it called Discovery Kids beforehand?
Yeah, it was, and then Hasbro made a deal with them, but Hasbro couldn't pay them enough, so it became Discovery Family, and now they just have Hasbro shows on there.
I guess the Bronies did not. I guess the Bronies couldn't support them long enough.
Oh no, we're still getting shows. Oh no, we Bronies are still getting shows.
I know, but you didn't do your job good enough. Otherwise, the Hub would still be around.
Oh no, we couldn't have helped anyway because Hasbro, all sides is hurting, and Disney's kind of circling around to buy it. So
yeah, so I guess we're kind of off track at this point. So I guess going back to the topic, is there anything else, or at least like any final thoughts you would want to say in concerns to the possibilities of an animated Power Rangers series or adaptation in general?
Maybe give these characters what they do on their off time and how they kind of show how they kind of try to walk that kind of line between having a normal teenage life and being a superhero. Kind of do that. Something that would be nice to explore since they didn't do that in the live action show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess they never did that in the original because that would have required them building more sets than just the juice bar in the high school.
Yeah.
So I guess my final thoughts would be that I would love the idea of an animated Power Rangers show or spin-off or whatever. I would like to see that old school imagery, feeling very nostalgic to the original series. I would love to see that imagery come back. Does it lose its appeal if it being in live action? You know what? After enjoying Power Rangers for 20 years, I would like to see something new, and I would like this direction. Would I like to completely replace it? I'm not sure about that, but I would be interested in the prospects of this sort of thing, and I hope it does make its way. I hope that with the trailer being leaked online, that hopefully it generated enough buzz to get the head people at Saban talking, and so hopefully in the future we may have something actually different from the franchise as opposed to just this passable to mediocre sort of deal that we've been getting in the Neo Saban era of Power Rangers.
Hey, Dino Charge is trying.
I have not seen Dino Charge, but I'm referring to the majority, which concerns 4 entire seasons so far, as opposed to 3 episodes.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. The past few have not been so great, but Dino Charge is trying. It's going.
It's going, gone. So anyways, thank you very much, the audience, for joining us for another session of Kaiju's Corner. Once again, I have been your host, Andres Perez, aka KaijuNoir.
And I have been your wonderful host, Deadpoolzilla.
And until next time, everybody, take care.